At the hotel, nobody understood the Chinese millionaire, until the black maid spoke fluent Chinese. Where are you watching from? Type your city in the comments. You might just get a shout-out in the next video. Hit like and subscribe for some good luck today. The marble lobby of the Grand Meridian Hotel was buzzing that evening. Guests dragged sleek suitcases across the polished floor, chandeliers rained golden light down on velvet couches, and the front desk staff moved briskly, flashing rehearsed smiles at arrivals. But in the center of all that luxury stood one man, confused, frustrated, and ignored. He was tall, well-dressed in a tailored navy suit, his black hair neatly combed back. A gold watch gleamed at his wrist, but his eyes told a story of exhaustion and rising anger. His name was Li Wei, a Chinese tech millionaire who had flown halfway across the world to seal a deal that could reshape industries. Yet here, in this supposedly world-class hotel, nobody seemed to understand him. "And I how, was Shu Yao Yaij Feng Jian," he said firmly, pointing toward the check-in desk. His voice carried weight, calm, but commanding. The receptionist, a young blonde woman, stared blankly, then forced a nervous laugh. "I'm sorry, sir. English. Do you speak English?" Li Wei frowned, repeating himself more slowly, trying gestures. He tapped his passport on the counter, pointed at the computer screen, then motioned as if writing. But the staff only exchanged puzzled looks. Another clerk whispered, "Maybe he's not even a guest? Could be lost." A bellhop chuckled quietly. "Looks rich though. Maybe he's here to meet someone important." Li Wei's jaw tightened. He had endured countless long meetings in Shanghai boardrooms, where every word carried billions in weight. But here, across the ocean, he was reduced to wild hand signals and blank stares. Minutes stretched painfully. The line of guests behind him grew restless. Someone muttered, "Why can't he just learn English? This is America." Li Wei heard that part. He didn't need a dictionary for prejudice. His hands balled into fists. Then, just as tension was about to explode, a quiet voice floated across the lobby. "Qing Wen, Nin Yao Bonjour Ma?" The sound of flawless Mandarin cut through the noise like a blade. Everyone turned. It wasn't a manager. It wasn't a concierge. It wasn't some high-ranking executive sweeping in to save the day. It was the maid. She stood at the edge of the marble floor, her cleaning cart beside her, dressed in the crisp black-and-white uniform of housekeeping. Her name was Aisha Johnson, a 26-year-old single mother who worked double shifts to support her young daughter. Her co-workers hardly noticed her most days. To them, she was just the maid. But tonight, her voice carried authority, and to Li Wei, it was salvation. His head snapped toward her, eyes widening. Finally, someone understood. "Jean da," he breathed, relief flooding his face. "Ni hui shuo zhongwen?" Aisha smiled softly, nodding. "Wa hui. Qing gao suwa, nin shu yao shenmi." The room went silent. Staff members blinked in shock, their jaws slack. Nobody had expected this quiet black maid to speak perfect Mandarin, with tones as natural as a Beijing native. Li Wei stepped toward her, explaining rapidly in Chinese. He had booked the presidential suite weeks ago, his assistant had confirmed everything, but when he arrived, the system didn't recognize his reservation. His meetings began the next morning, and he needed the room prepared immediately. Aisha listened carefully, nodding, then turned sharply toward the front desk. For the first time that night, she spoke English, but her tone was sharper than usual. "He says he reserved the presidential suite. His booking should already be in your system. You need to check again." The receptionist blinked. "Wait. You understood him?" "Yes," Aisha replied simply. "Now check." The staff scrambled, typing furiously. And there it was, the reservation, flagged under a different spelling due to a clerical error. The suite had been mistakenly marked unavailable. The manager rushed out, stammering apologies. "Sir, we deeply regret this mistake." But Li Wei ignored him. His focus stayed on Aisha. "You," he said in Mandarin, his voice low but grateful. "You saved me tonight." She smiled politely. "Just doing my job, sir." But in that moment, something unspoken passed between them. Because while the others saw Aisha as invisible, Li Wei saw her clearly. The presidential suite was soon prepared, the best wine placed on the table, the curtains drawn open to reveal the city skyline. But Li Wei wasn't interested in the luxury. He asked the manager one thing: "Send her. The maid. I want her assistance." Aisha, confused, was escorted to the suite later that night. She half expected to be dismissed, maybe scolded for stepping out of line earlier. But when she entered, Li Wei stood waiting, respectful and calm. "Sit, please," he said in Mandarin. Cautiously, she sat on the velvet armchair. Li Wei poured tea, sliding a cup across the table. "Tell me, where did you learn?" Aisha chuckled softly. "At university. I majored in East Asian languages. Thought I'd travel, maybe work in diplomacy. Life had other plans." Her eyes clouded briefly. She didn't need to explain the hardships, dropping out when her mother fell ill, working odd jobs, raising her daughter alone. Dreams put on pause, replaced by survival. Li Wei studied her carefully. He had met ministers, CEOs, and billionaires. But rarely had he met someone with such quiet dignity. "You remind me," he said slowly, "of myself when I started. People only saw where I came from, not what I could become." Aisha looked at him, surprised. For the first time in years, she felt seen. The next morning, the hotel was swarming with reporters and executives. Li Wei's arrival had made the news. Cameras flashed as he prepared for meetings with investors. And there, walking beside him, was Aisha, the maid-turned-interpreter. The staff whispered, "Why her? Why not a professional translator?" But Li Wei had chosen her. He trusted her. And as she translated his words flawlessly before a room of powerful men, she proved herself again and again. When one investor tried to dismiss his ideas, Aisha caught the subtle insult and delivered Li Wei's reply with the same sharp edge he intended. The room shifted in his favor. When another executive made a joke at Li Wei's expense, assuming he wouldn't understand, Aisha's eyes flashed. She translated it word for word. Li Wei responded coolly, putting the man in his place. By the end of the day, the deal was sealed. Billions were on the line, and Li Wei had won. But he knew he hadn't done it alone. That evening, as the city lights flickered on, Li Wei invited Aisha to dinner. Not as his maid, not even as his translator, but as his equal. "You deserve more than this hotel job," he said. "If you want, I can help you. A position in my company. Travel, a real career." Aisha's hands trembled around her glass. 4 years, she had carried her daughter's future on her back, sacrificing her own. And now, suddenly, a door she thought had closed forever was opening again. Tears welled in her eyes. "Why me?" she whispered. Li Wei smiled. "Because when no one else listened, you did. And that is rarer than gold." Weeks later, the hotel staff gathered around the lobby television. News anchors praised the surprising partnership between a Chinese tech mogul and an American maid who spoke flawless Mandarin. But to Aisha, it was more than news. It was proof that no matter how invisible the world made you feel, the right moment could reveal your true worth. And to everyone watching, one truth rang clear. Never underestimate the quiet ones. They might just be the bridge between worlds. Moral of the story. Respect runs deeper than status. Talent and dignity can hide in the most unexpected places. And sometimes, the person you overlook today is the one who changes your future tomorrow.